This
is not
conference will now be
really
recorded.
important. It's not really important here because we are not going to program anything. We are not going to develop anything in AWS,
Yeah.
right? So only if you have a basic idea, that is more than enough. And so I'll tell you what my case is. See, I started before like 4 years, right? So totally, I have around 13 years of experience in IT industry. I'm actually a CCNA certified person, like CCNA,
Yeah.
CCNP.
Yeah.
Those are my certifications actually. I'm mostly into networking background. But when I started AWS, I did not have idea about databases,
Yeah.
right? And I don't have idea about software development also. The
Yeah.
only idea which I have is about virtualization and networking. But when I started to learn this, I didn't have like much difficulty to learn it because those are not mandatory to learn AWS, and then they don't talk much deeper. So they don't ask you to configure SQL Server inside AWS. So they just tell you about what SQL Server does and what is the difference between DynamoDB. DynamoDB is somewhat a service of AWS.
Okay.
Right, so they talk about the difference between SQL Server and DynamoDB, and then they move into the DynamoDB stuff. So they don't cover SQL. And so this program is like it is on the architecting level, it is on the designing level. So we are not going to configure or create anything,
So as far I
right?
know, I have seen a couple of demo in the YouTube that they have a
Mm.
two site in AWS. One is development, another one is infrastructure. So
Yeah,
basically, you
correct.
are going to learn us, teach us the infrastructure.
Yes,
Not the
yes, yes.
development.
Yeah. So we will be
So is
diving
this
towards the.
course is enough to do the AWS certification?
Yes, yes. So this course talks about a solution architect certification only.
Okay, that's great.
Uh, Give me a moment.
Sure,
Sridevi is calling me. Just give me a moment.
sure.
Yes, Mohammed. So hope
Yeah,
you got the answer, right?
yeah. So how many days it takes to finish this course?
It is actually a 40 to 45 hours course.
That means 40 to 45 days.
Yeah. So approximately, like we will be like taking around 1.5 hours per day.
Yeah.
That's how we plan the session. So it'll take around 40 to 45 days.
Okay. So in this time frame, 40 to 45 days, if I'm regular with this course, so
Mhm.
am I give the exam AWS certification?
So exam like so as far of so what I think is it is always better to take around 60 to 90 days of time for your preparation,
Okay.
right? So because once after we complete the theory, we complete our instruction, like it is better to have at least you should have watched the videos 2 to 3 times, so that you can remember the points over there.
Yeah, the
Uh, right?
terminology.
Yeah, terminologies, like
Yeah,
because the terminologies are the one which we get confused often because it's new to us.
yeah,
It is not easy for us to remember the terminologies just in one day.
yeah.
It will not come to us. So like take at least 60 to 90 days of time to give the exam.
Yeah.
So
I,
if
I
if we
have
are
done the I have done the Microsoft Solution Associate certification.
Mhm, mhm.
So
So
for my next
Microsoft
career.
certification
Yeah,
in the sense, like which certification you are talking about?
MCSA. That's Microsoft Certified
MCSA.
Solution
Okay. Oh,
Associate.
solution associate. Okay, okay, okay.
Mm.
Then I think you are used to that exam pattern, right? As you are
Yeah.
used to that question pattern, right? How? Yeah, the most of the questions will be inclined in that manner only. The format of the questions, like what they'll do is they'll give you a solution. So they'll create a case study. Like for example, they say like Mr. John is working on this particular
Yeah.
organization and he's facing such problems, right? So what will be the solution that you can give to John to solve this problem? So that's how the questions are framed, right?
Okay.
The thing is, like they'll be using the most terminologies which they cover on like their AWS cloud. Uh, so like having an idea about Azure or having an idea about Google Cloud, uh, you cannot easily remember the terminologies of AWS because the terminologies of AWS is slightly different than these two.
Okay.
But learning Azure and taking Google courses, it is mostly similar. The terminologies are mostly similar.
Yeah. It's like in India or Bangladesh or in London, they used to drive a car in the right hand side, but in
Mhm.
USA they drive the car in left hand side.
Left hand side.
The,
Correct, correct,
the
correct. You are
basic,
correct.
if you know the basic driving, so it doesn't matter left or right. So it takes like couple of hours or couple of days to adjust yourself
So I just
because the
correct, correct. That's
driving
true.
basic
That's
is same. Like
true.
you need to pull out the gear, you need to pull escalator, you need to use the steering. So everything is same. But only thing is here is left hand side and there is right hand side.
Correct, correct, correct,
So
correct. But driving in Indian roads requires a special skill because people will be walking between the roads.
it's same as Bangladesh. So especially in Asia, obviously. In here, like people cross the road first, then the car cross next.
Car
But in our
crashes.
country, the car cross the road first, then the people.
Then the people will cross. Yes, yes, that's true. On the same road, both of them will be crossing, and then the
Yeah.
people who cross the road will be scolding us like anything. Like that. That's
And
happens.
the other difference is like if you horn here, like people do mind that it seems to you throwing bad words. But in our country, if you don't horn, that people think that your horn is maybe it's
Not
out of.
working. Correct, correct, correct. It's true.
Hello,
Uh,
sir.
some of them have
Hello.
joined. Yeah, Sridevi.
Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
yeah.
you. Can you please introduce everyone and yourself?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to talk with others as well. So hi Fatima. Fatima, I think she's not responding. Hi Kanupriya. Okay. So hi others. Like hope you are able to hear my voice clearly. Can you please respond?
Hi, you can unmute yourself and speak. You can unmute.
So your console will be muted by default. So you can click the second.
Sir, no issues. You can start now.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Hi, Mohammed. So, any other questions do you have? Let me try to answer
Um,
your questions.
so basically, I have done my SQL courses from one of your neighbor that's called the SQL School, Mr. Sai
Mm-hmm.
Fandindo. I did a couple of courses from him, SQL
Oh.
DBA, BI, Business Intelligence, then Power BI. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost done. So my next target is now with you. I found you in the Facebook. I have seen your demo, and I really like the way you teach. And so I have a very good hope that I will obviously, my goal is to do the AWS certification and learn the AWS so I can drive my career in future with AWS because the next decade is coming with the cloud. So, and even Microsoft is also moving to the cloud and all other. So that's why
Yeah,
then
like
after
Microsoft has
finish,
already moved to the cloud.
yeah,
They're giving a good competition to AWS, especially
yeah,
Amazon.
because they have almost 45 region. So they are doing, they have another 15 to start. I think
Ah,
AWS 15 only.
yes, yes, yes. But one thing in AWS, one good stuff in AWS is the server capacity, of AWS when
Yeah,
in each and every region is huge.
yeah,
It is not as
that's
like
correct.
as
Yeah,
Azure. So Azure,
yeah,
even though they have more regions,
yeah,
but the capacity of the server is less. The size
yeah,
of the data center is less over here.
yeah,
So that is one good thing that AWS has. And then so they started this terminology of cloud. So like every day they launch new services.
yeah. And after the AWS, I have a plan to start the DevOps because the next
Mhm.
DevOps future is very bright as well because everybody is now going for automation.
Correct, correct, correct. Even networking also it started automating
Yeah,
themselves. Like that is the only that is a challenge which we are finding it actually.
yeah.
Hi, sir. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, Sridevi,
Can you
yes.
please start, sir? Can you please start demo?
Yeah, yeah, I'll start. I'll start. I'm just downloading my PowerPoint. Yeah. So hope you're able to see my screen, right, everyone? So about like
Yep.
so before going into the demo, what I'll do is I'll introduce myself. So myself actually Vijay. I'm from not Tamil Nadu, like India, South India, and like totally I have around 14 years of experience in IT industry. So I started as a network administrator in one of the telecom company, Airtel. That is the place where I started. And so I've worked in like various organizations. I spoke to TCS after Apple. I was there with TCS for around 3 years. Then I moved to Cisco. Cisco actually like currently I'm working with Cisco.
Hi, Lithin Muhammad. Good
Right.
evening. Today I'm calling from BigClasses. Demo on
Uh,
AWS has just started. A discussion is going on. Request you to join. Link has already been shared to you. Thank you.
Siri, can you mute yourself? Currently I'm working with Cisco as a network specialist over here. So I'm actually leading a team of around 45 people. So we belong to a department called Calo. Actually, like what we do is we work on recreating topologies, recreating network infrastructure for different organizations. So it is actually a support for the technical assistance center. Sometimes, we also deliver training classes across the globe for multiple Cisco certifications. Right. And so currently in our projects, we also use AWS very extensively. For last 4 years, we have migrated around 400 servers from Cisco into AWS cloud, right? And we actually use a hybrid model of cloud over here. We don't have any private account in AWS, or we don't use the public cloud model also, but we use a hybrid cloud model. So where there will be some servers located on the on-premise network, and there will be some servers located on the inside the AWS cloud. So we have some dedicated channels which connects between the AWS cloud and the hybrid on the on-premises network. Right. So the project started like this, and now we have around 400 servers which operates inside the AWS cloud. Right. So and so mostly most of the services that I use in my regular job is we manage Elastic Compute Cloud, that is VM instances inside AWS, and we manage networking part of AWS as well. Right. And so regarding my certifications, actually, I've completed around 12 certifications in Cisco. That is, I'm actually a CCNA routing and switching, CCNP routing and switching, CCNA security, CCNP security, and CCNA design and CCNP design. So these are the certifications on Cisco. And apart from Cisco, I'm actually certified for ethical hacking, and I'm certified for AWS as well. Right. So currently, I'm preparing for AWS Advanced Networking. So this is actually a specialty paper that AWS has, which concentrates more on the networking stuffs. Right. And other than the certifications, I have also published a book on CCNA security. Actually, that is available in market. And currently I'm planning to write another book on AWS advanced networking. So I'm like, we are framing the contents for certification guide for advanced networking. So that's why, that's the reason I thought of giving the exam, so that I can get much more experience to use those experiences directly on the book which I'm planning to write. Right. So this is about me. Right. So before I go to the demo session, I also try to, I also just wanted to hear from you. So, what your profile is, that will give me more idea about how to take the class ahead. Right. So, Mohammed, I got to know about you. It's really great. And so, what about others like Fatima or Kanupriya or Chantal? Can you please unmute and then introduce about yourself? Okay, so there is no response. Okay, it's fine. So let me move to the agenda of this particular hour. What we are going to do. So now I'll just try to give you an idea about what exactly cloud computing is, and why we want to learn AWS, and what exactly AWS is, right? And so we'll also talk about different job trends in present in AWS. So if you're already experienced, I think you might have idea about how AWS has created, the market in the current in the current 5 to 10 years, right? So now, what happened before? So we had the word cloud computing. So cloud computing, first of all, cloud computing is not a technology, right? So cloud computing is a service, right? So before we had cloud computing, so what happened? Like if I want to run a website or if I want to host a website, right? And the website, for example, it is a website which is accessed by internal employees of an organization, right? So, for example, we have like several servers, and so we are planning to implement the website on the servers, right? So if I want to plan the website, so I'll be designing the website with a web developer, right? So once I design the website with a web developer, right, then I need to think about what hardware should I purchase to implement or to install the items which I created with the help of a web developer. So I'll be thinking about how to purchase servers, how to purchase hardwares, and how to build the data center for the servers to place in, right? So once I build up the data center, so if I say data center, so data center is nothing but it is a group of servers, right? So data having a data center is not a very easy case. Like, so what I want to do is I have to have a proper space to mount all the servers. So once I have a proper space, I should have cooling inside the space so that the servers will operate very smoothly. And not only cooling, so I should also have certified engineers to work in my data center, so who can troubleshoot the issues and who can maintain the data center properly, right? So there are a lot amount of investment required to host a single website, right? So this is the problem which we faced before the era of cloud. But after cloud, what has happened? So what has happened is you do not want to purchase the hardware. Instead, you rent a hardware from a cloud computing provider and you use their infrastructure to host your applications or host or run your applications inside their infrastructure, right? So you do not want to go and buy any hardware. You do not want to waste your money in in buying the entire hardware and setting up the data center for your applications. Instead, you just go to a cloud provider. You ask them what you need, what kind of hardware you need. Then you directly rent that hardware and you host your applications and you can run that applications till the time when you need it, right? So if you are planning to run the application only for a month, only for 30 days or only for 45 days, then you can just rent the servers for 45 days and you can use them. And after the 45th day, you will not be paying any money to the cloud computing provider. But if you are purchasing a hardware, what happens is it is owned by you, right? So you will be investing a lot amount of money and you will be taking the responsibility of the cost which you have invested, right? And when I talk about purchasing hardwares, so purchasing hardware is also not very simple, right? So you want to think about what motherboard to take, what processor to take, and there will be compatibility issues that comes between the motherboards and the processors. So you cannot randomly pick up a motherboard, or you cannot randomly pick up a hardware and then create a server. So customization is very difficult in the case of purchasing a hardware. But in cloud computing, what happens is customization has become very easy. So you just want to go to a cloud provider and tell how much RAM you need, or how much hard disk you need, or what kind of processor you need, right? So they don't ask you several questions on what type of RAM it is or what type of processor it is. So you just want to go and ask a cloud provider, and the cloud provider gives you what RAM it requests. So they don't ask you much questions on the hardware limitations. So this is a one advantage of having a cloud computing in your network, right? And one more feature that every cloud provider provides is like there is a feature called auto scaling, right? So what exactly auto scaling is like? Let me take an example. Like I think you would have heard about Amazon's Black Friday sale or Flipkart's Black Friday sale, right? So what they do is on a particular day they announce various offers on all the products, right? So that people can buy any products on the offer price, right? If your company is also planning to do the same, so for example, if your company is an e-commerce company, or if your company is is trying to sell their products in an offer price, and your company is trying to put an offer advertisement to all the customers, and they expect a huge number of visits to their website or to their application on a particular day, right? So if I want to have an plan like this, right? So if we do not have cloud, what should you really do is you have to plan in buying several servers and add in your data center, right? So like you will be spending money to buy servers and you will be adding the servers in the existing data center. So expecting for the more requests or more visits to hit in your website, right? Now, for example, when the offer day starts at 10 a.m., you are getting a visit of around 1,000 visits, right? So you have enough infrastructure to service all the 1,000 visits that has happened to your website. And after 2 hours, the number of visits increases. So before we had only 1,000 visits, and after some time we have around 10,000 visits that is happening, right? So again in 10,000 visits, so you have some servers which can be added to the data center, so you can service all the visits. Now again after 2 hours, again the number of visits increases. So assume that 1 lakh requests has come or 1 lakh visits has come to your application, right? Now the real problem starts. Like now you will not be having enough servers to service all the 1 lakh visits. So in that case, what happens is you will be losing your business, right? So you will be wasting your business. So this is one case that we can take. The other case is, for example, you have purchased hardware to service around 1 lakh visits, right, for your application, but nothing happened or it doesn't happen as I expected. You just got only 10,000 visits to your application. Now, the hardware that you have purchased to service all the 1 lakh visits is again waste of money, right? So you'll be ending up in wasting money because you have purchased all the hardwares. So the number of visits can either increase or the number of visits can either decrease, right? So based on this, you cannot predict and you cannot go and purchase hardware. But in cloud computing, there is a service called auto-scaling. So what happens in auto-scaling is you create a VM, you create a virtual machine, and you allow users to visit that particular virtual machine. So virtual machine, as I say, it is virtual, right? It is not real, it is virtual. So you are hosting in your applications inside the virtual machine, and you are allowing the visitors to visit your virtual machine. Now the number of requests goes high, right? For example, from 100, the number of visits has gone to 1,000. Now, what happens is the first VM that you have created, if they are able to service all the 1,000 requests that has come to your application, there is no problem. If they are not able to service, immediately what the cloud computing provider does is they will add up a virtual instance for you in the same network that you have opted for. So the next people who are trying to visit your network will do not face any lag on their connection. So they will be directly redirected to the second instance that has been created. Right now, again the number of visits increases. Right. So for example, from 1,000 it increases to 10,000. So again, what happens? The cloud computing provider again adds up a virtual instance for you, and this is an automated process. So they don't ask you whether to add or whether they don't ask you whether to remove it. It is an automated process. Whenever the number of visits increases, whenever the CPU utilization of one single instance increases, they add up. They keep on adding up several other instances to your network, right? And when there is no request has come to your website as expected, if the request starts reducing, they also uh, remove the virtual instances that has been created. So adding is also automated, removing is also automated. So this is one feature which is really a helpful feature, or you can say this is the important feature which everybody wants to know about, how cloud computing helps us to reduce the cost of an organization. Right, so this service is called as auto scaling. In AWS we call it as auto scaling. In Azure and in cloud there are some fancy terms that are used, right? So this is an example which can say the importance of cloud computing in the for an organization to reduce the cost, implementation cost. Right. So as I said, what exactly cloud computing is? So cloud computing is nothing but you are trying to access the instances via remotely or via an internet, which manages or which processes and or which stores the data on their infrastructure, on the infrastructure of the cloud provider, than storing it on the your hardware, right? So you provide your data to the cloud infrastructure, and they manage it for you, and you will be paying only for what you have used. So you will not be paying anything extra. You will be only end up in paying what the service for the services that you have used. So that is what cloud computing is, right? So any questions, like if you have any questions, then I'll just try to help you to understand more brief about cloud computing. Then we'll move on to the next section.
So, so in this scenario, if everything is auto, so what is the function? Like, as I am a cloud AWS person, so what is my function basically?
Yeah, so like when you take the case study of auto scaling, so here the architect, the AWS, the responsibility of the architect is to configure the threshold value. Every application has their own dependability, right? So not all the applications are same, right? So if you take even if you take like SQL, or even if you take Oracle database, so they are databases, but still their dependency towards the hardware is different. So SQL will interact differently to the hardware than that of Oracle, right? So the interaction to the hardware is completely different between multiple applications. So as a solution architect of Amazon, or as a solution architect of any cloud computing provider, we are supposed to know about our applications and the cloud infrastructure as well. So we are the one who will be taking a decision how to implement the application on the AWS infrastructure. So what a cloud computing provider does, they only gives us a platform to operate, right? So they have given us a space, and we are responsible to arrange our items on the given space, right? So we can arrange in depending on the applications that we have. There are some traditional applications which cloud computing providers urge us to configure in a particular way, but there are also some other applications where any cloud computing provider does not have any idea about. So architect is the person who is designing, who is actually like trying to implement, who is designing a surface to implement the applications, right? Only some functions are automated. but you are the one who is responsible to say how it should be automated, right? So like I said, like auto scaling is a function which monitors the CPU utilization of the instance, and based on the CPU utilization, the number of instances will be added or will be removed, right? So this is a service which is given by AWS. So here we are the one who is responsible to configure the threshold. So my application may use higher RAMs or higher processing limits, right? So I cannot wait for my instance to have reach the CPU utilization of 80%, right? Because I know about the application, how it runs. So what I will go and tell is I will go and configure the threshold, stating that if the CPU utilization goes beyond 65 percentage, right, then create one more VM. Or if the CPU utilization goes beyond 75 percentage, only then create a new VM. And if the CPU utilization reduces to 35 percentage, then remove one VM which you have created. Right? The threshold value is the one which we will be configuring based on the applications that I have, or based on the websites that I run into, right?
Yeah. So in a
Uh,
database perspective, like uh, they have also giving us AWS or Azure, whatever the cloud provider, they are also giving us the high availability or disaster recovery solution, and we need to configure like which one is our primary region and which one is gonna be the nearest data center. So is it works like that?
Correct. So that is a very simple rule which every cloud provider follows. So what they really do is they just ask you to choose the infrastructure which is nearby to you. The reason is so you will be having a low latency connection between the nearest region, right? But if you take Amazon, there is a service called Cloud Formation, right? Cloud Formation, or we can say it as Cloud Front. It is actually for content delivery, right? So let me give an example. So now, for example, I'm trying to reach google.com, right?
Yeah,
And I'm from southern India,
yeah,
and I have been connected to a an ISP called Airtel. Let me take an example. My ISP is Airtel, right? And I want to reach google.com. I don't know where exactly my google.com is sitting in, right? So there are different Google servers available in the world.
yeah,
So there can be a server in the nearest location which I'm connected to, or there will be a server in US, or there will be a server in Australia, or there will be a server in Greenland. So there can be any servers placed in different areas. So when I'm trying to connect to google.com, I really don't know to which area my request is sent, right?
yeah,
So how Google does this? They load balance. So based on the request, based on the availability of the connection lead, they load balance and they push our request to the nearest available server. If the nearest available server is not available, then they see how to push it to the next nearest available server.
yeah,
So this is a very basic way of doing load balancing. The same thing has been done on Amazon as well. So, for example, you have uh, around a 10 TB of data that you have stored in your region, and you are located in US, for example, right?
yeah,
And your company has also a branch in India, in southern India, which will be accessing the 10 TB of data on a regular basis, right? For example, the database is stored in your region, and the VM is stored in my region, and my VM will be accessing, or my application will be accessing your database, will be querying your database in a regular basis,
Yeah.
right? So what Amazon does is, using the service of CloudFront, they efficiently deliver the hardware. So they choose the best path to reach to the database, and the path which they have chosen will be statically configured for the end user. So the end user or the application which regularly queries the database will always be using the dedicated path to reach to the database and get and then they get the inputs, right? So this is actually it is actually load balancing, but there's a type of load balancing where first time you're allowed to search and then reach the application that you are trying to use, and from the next time the path that you have chosen has been statically inputted to your routing table, right? So you will only be using one dedicated path to reach to the uh, destination,
Yeah.
right? So this is also an advantage which Amazon has. So this service is not present in Azure and not present in Google also. So they both do not have a service called CloudFront,
Okay.
right? This is more on content delivery side. And if you take mobility, so cloud computing providers, especially like Amazon, they have different services for mobility as well, right? Or mobility or artificial intelligence. But Azure and cloud does not concentrate on artificial intelligence more as like as Amazon. They have services, but still their services are not as good as the services of Amazon, right? So hope
Yeah.
this answers your questions, first
Yeah.
Mohammed. So what about others? Like many of them have joined, but no one is responding. I don't know why. So they are responding me in chat, but hope their audio has a problem. Okay. So now we'll talk about what exactly AWS is. So AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. So this is a cloud computing service of Amazon, right? So they started in the year of 2006, right? They officially started in the year of 2006, but the plan was started in 2003 itself. So 2003 is the time where they created the plan of AWS of web services, and they named the plan as Amazon Web Services. And this was done on the paper level, like so they created a plan on a paper first, and then they started implementing it. And 2006 is the year which they launched it completely, right? The first service which they launched is called as SQS, Simple Queuing Service. This is actually a service which helps you to queue your requests based on the priority. So we can say it is prioritization of requests. That was the first service they launched, right? And so AWS is huge when compared to other cloud providers, right? So you can see the magic quadrant that I have given. So this quadrant is actually taken in 2018. So this is a picture which taken in 2018 May. At that time, actually, like only Amazon was sharing cloud market of around 31 percentage, right? Other 69 percentage is shared by IBM Cloud, it is shared by Google Cloud, it is shared by Alibaba Cloud, it is shared by Google Cloud. So Google, IBM, Oracle, VMware, all the other cloud providers was sharing around 69 percentage of market, and only Amazon had a market of 31 percentage, had a market of 31 percentage, right? And one good thing in Amazon is Amazon has a very cool pricing model. Their pricing model is very flexible, right? But pricing, again, it depends on how an organization wants to implement their data center. In some services, Amazon charges a little bit high when compared to other cloud providers, but the usability is very easy in the case of AWS, right? And so if I say like uh, other cloud providers like IBM, VMware, Google, DigitalOcean, or Microsoft is having a server capacity of X in each and every region, Amazon has a server capacity of 6x in each and every region. So it is 6 times bigger than that of the other cloud computing providers for every region, right? I think I want to tell you what exactly region is, right? So region mm, is the term used by cloud computing providers to talk about the location of their data centers uh, in and across the world, right? So, uh, the world is being divided into multiple regions, multiple data centers, right? So, the size of data center or the capacity of the data center, the server capacity of data center is around 6x in Amazon when compared to the other computing providers. So this is also one advantage we can consider on Amazon, right? And talking about the durability and talking about the security that AWS provides to their customers. So AWS provides a durability of around 99.11 of durability. That means the data that you have stored, the data that you are trying to store on Amazon infrastructure has a durability of around 99.11 of durability, right? So what they do is when you are trying to store a data on AWS cloud, right? For example, you go and create a virtual instance. So the virtual instance is sitting on a hardware, right? Assume that the hardware where your virtual instance is sitting has gone bad or it has been damaged, right? Now, how are we supposed to retrieve the data that we have stored? So when a hardware gets damaged, if it is a hardware issue, then it is really difficult to take out the data which we have stored in that, right? What Amazon does is they use a technology called RAID, redundant array of independent disks. Using this particular technology, they take a copy of data that you have stored in one hardware and they distribute the copy of data to multiple physical devices. Instead of storing the entire data in one physical device, they distribute the data in multiple physical devices. So even if one physical device goes bad, the data can be retrieved from other physical devices, right? So this is a concept which is used by AWS to maintain their durability. So that is the reason they give a guarantee of 99.11 of durability to your data that you have stored. And as far as security is considered, they give a guarantee of around 99.49, 99.9999. That is the percentage which they give a guarantee for data security, for securing your data, right? So till now, there is no such big cases that happened for exploiting the network of Amazon to steal the data by any hackers, right? So in this like 14 years of the service no, of Amazon, there is no big no, losses of data which has been hacked by hackers. There is no such report like that, right? The security of AWS is also very huge. So there are like many services, which we will be discussing in our session, uh, which talks about more about data security, right? So that is the reason that in the definition of AWS, so they have given a statement that AWS is a secure cloud platform, that offers different services like compute, storage, content delivery, and database. So the services of AWS are being classified into four different services. One is compute. So compute is nothing but using a virtual machine on the cloud provider's hardware. That is compute service. And storage, that is storing your data on their infrastructure, right? So database is having a database on their infrastructure. Content delivery, speedy access of data from wherever you are into. It is about content delivery. So these are the four major services which AWS concentrates about, right? So the term, it says AWS is a secure cloud platform. It is really secure. So any questions, like anything you have it in your mind?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So after the class, will you email us the slide which you are showing us?
Yeah, sure. We'll do it.
Okay. And what is the, like, how do we connect with you through email or Skype, or if we facing any problem, or if we don't
Yeah.
understand any
So what
terminology?
what we do is we have a dedicated email ID which is created, right? And so we'll be sharing you that email ID. So actually, like currently we are developing a forum, right? So like you can either post your questions on forum site, or you can email directly, right?
Okay.
If you're facing any issues on between, like you can email, and I can revert you back as fast as possible.
Okay. And can we see the video after the class?
Yes. All the entire class will be recorded, and
Yep.
the recording will also be shared to you.
Okay. Thank
All right. So you can access it. You can access this for the entire time. You can watch the recording for multiple times.
you. Okay.
Even if you have questions on the first day, we can also spend time on the next day to help you out to understand the questions.
And
Right.
if I
So
miss, what about if I miss one classes, like maybe on Thursday classes I
mm,
might miss because I have to go to the other city. I have a
mm.
couple of meetings there, so maybe if
Yeah, in
there
that
is a
case,
chance.
what you can do is, like, mostly what happens is, like the recording will be shared to you in the evening itself, right? Mostly it takes around 2 or 3 hours of time. You will be having the recording with you, so you can watch the recording and then you can join the next session.
Okay. All right.
Right? So, like we don't follow any strict rules, or we don't follow any hard and fast statements. Like, so whenever, if you want to, if you are missing a class, and if you're not getting the video recording next day, anyway we can discuss it, right?
Yeah.
So there is no
And
such.
for the practice, do we can we get a Amazon free account? Then we can use
Yeah,
and
I'll help you to create an Amazon free account. Actually, Amazon, it provides a 1 year free account,
wow, because
right?
Azure
Which
they
will.
used to do with 6 months.
6 months, not even 6 months. They give some credits, and then when
Yeah.
you use the credits, the
Yeah.
free trial will be over. But in the
Yeah.
case of Amazon, like what they do is they give 12 months free trial access, but not all the services are free here.
Okay.
All right, so there are some services which are chargeable.
Yeah.
If you start any database, they charge for it.
Okay.
Right, you start a database and you use it for 2 minutes, they charge for it.
So you will show us like which one we're gonna use or which one we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So whenever we are talking about each and every service,
Yeah.
once you understand about the service, I'll also tell you how this service is being priced.
Okay.
Right. So so till now, I have delivered some around 8 to 10 classes of solution architect. Right. So I have a fair idea of how exactly they charge. Right. But in our projects, we are using networking services only. So
Okay.
most of the networking services are free.
Okay.
Right. But other services, I have a fair idea about the pricing model.
Okay.
Right? So I have done some research on Google to check about how they really price for multiple services. So I'll help you out with the pricing model as well.
Sure.
Like every service, it is if for example, like if I'm talking about a compute service. So how do I take my class? Is like first I'll try to explain you what that service is all about,
Yeah.
then how to configure the service, right?
Yeah.
How to implement that service.
Okay.
Then what are all the important terminologies that you should remember when you talk about that particular service? And at last, we discuss about the pricing model.
All right.
So these 4 points will be covered on all the services. In exam, if you take the certification exam,
Yeah.
uh, there will be no questions on how they are really priced. There are no such questions on solution architect exam, right? So I gave two exams actually. One the old version, and the other new version also. Now it is actually version 6.0. The current version is 6.0. The version which I took is 4.0. So I took 4.0 also, and I took 6.0 also because that certification was expired,
Okay.
right? So I just want to recertify, so that I'm in touch with the curriculum. Right. So in exam, there is no such questions where they will ask you to create a network or to create a complete infrastructure or tell what exactly the pricing model is. There is no such questions. So they might give you a case study where you will be given with two different services where you have to compare and tell which one is good, which service is really cheaper. Only in that way the questions will be,
You
right?
have the
So
dummy question, yeah?
yeah, I have the dummy questions as well. So I have some 200 to 300 questions. I'll share with you, right?
All right.
But really, it is not like Microsoft or it is not like Cisco. So here, dummy questions does not help. It is just an idea.
Okay.
Actually, in Microsoft, if you take even the time when I started
Yeah.
in 2007, when I started, it was you do not want to study the book. You just go through the dumps and then you
Brain.
can go up here for the exam and then clear the exam.
Yeah. Brain drums.
Yeah. Brain dumps and pass pass. These were the famous. They were making money with this certification model. But somehow, AWS got escaped from those cases. But still, people are doing it. Even I saw 2 days back, I think I saw a post in Facebook. So
Yeah.
one guy was trying to sell the exam questions of around 1,000 exam questions just for $1. He's not worrying about what will happen to the people. He is only about worrying about the money. So if 1,000 people buys the dumps, then it will be $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, Sudevi.
Fatima has a question in the text. Can you please check and answer her?
No, I didn't get anything. I think she has responded to you. Fatima, there is one. Actually, I'm using the term Vijay. It is not Vijay AWS. Vijay AWS is organizer.
No, it in what way AWS different from other cloud providers? That is a question.
That was the question, right? Okay. So So the first point to remember is the server capacity of AWS, right? In that way, AWS is different from the other cloud providers. The server capacity of AWS is huge, right? And the other difference, the second difference is the list of services that AWS provides, to achieve a single case study or a single case. So, for example, I want a storage solution to my organization, right? And I want this storage solution to be cheaper also. I do not want to end up in paying huge amount of money to have that storage solution. Now, if you take Azure or if you take Google, they have only one service which they offer to have a storage solution. But if you take Amazon, they have around 6 different services. So they have a service called S3, which is a block storage. They have a service called EBS. They have a service called Amazon Glacier, right? And there is a service called EFS. So these are the different services that Amazon has to provide you the required storage solution, right? So storage is taken as a single service. Inside storage, there are many different services which Amazon offers, right? So after you having an idea about what exactly S3 is or what exactly EBS is or what exactly EFS is, you can choose what really fits in your organization, right? So the like they offer various services to achieve a project requirement, right? In that way, Amazon stands somewhat better than that of other cloud providers, right? And one more thing is the usability. When you talk about the usability, so for example, I'm completely new to AWS, so I just want to know about their console, or I just want to have an idea about their APIs or their SDKs that they are using to develop their services, right? When you talk about usability, the usability is also really good when compared to the other cloud providers in AWS, right? So you have a programming capability where you can automate or you can customize a API of AWS, right? So when you are trying to access the web services console, there are two consoles that they provide. One is management console and one is CLI console. So management console is for the one who are most used towards the GUI pattern of configuring or implementing. And development console is for the guys who are really developers. So who know to script. So if you take a service and if you want to customize or if you want to automate, Amazon provides you full functionality to automate your service or to customize your service. But in other cloud providers, the functionality is limited. They does not provide you the complete rights to automate or complete rights to customize. Right. So these are all the three main points which where Amazon stands better than that of other cloud providers. Right. And then if you take it on the financial part, right, Amazon is little bit costly, but not all the services of Amazon are costly than the other cloud providers. Other cloud providers, to compete with Amazon, what they have done is they have drastically reduced the price, right? So because like it is just the marketing strategy. So they are new to the field, so they want to enter to the field, so they have drastically reduced the price for several services, and they are trying to compete with AWS. But so there is a guarantee in AWS where their pricing model is very less when compared to the other cloud providers for a longer run. right? When you are planning to use the services of AWS for long time, right, then the pricing model is really cheap, right? But for short time users, we may feel that the pricing model of other cloud providers is less, right? It's just a feel that we have, right? So hope this answered your question, Fatima.
I think she has some mic problems, sir.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh, Others in the class, please respond your questions.
No, because like what I thought is like I do not want to no run the slides and then end up the show, right? I do not want to do it. So I just want to hear from you so that if you have any questions, then I can help you out to really understand about your questions, so you can take a decision immediately. Okay.
Okay, sir, you please go ahead.
So like yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah. So there are different domains in AWS. So as I said, like compute is one domain. Inside compute, you have list of services. Like there is a service called EC2. There is a service called Lightstyle. There is a service called ECR. So these are the different services which will help you to achieve the domain compute, right? So like compute domain, we have storage domain, right? I was talking about the storage domain a little before, right? So there is a service called EFS, Amazon Glacier, Amazon S3. So these are some services which help us to achieve the uh, domain of storage, right? So let me show you the console so you can understand it better. So this is how the console of AWS looks like, right? And so here are the list of services that Amazon provides. So there are like multiple domains. So compute is a domain, storage is a domain, database is a domain, and then if you want to migration and transfer. So you want to migrate your data from your on-premise network to Amazon Cloud, or you want to migrate your data from one region of Amazon to other region of Amazon, right? That is called as cross-region replication, right? So these are this is actually a domain which talks about migration and transfer, right? And there is a domain for networking and content delivery, and these are the list of services. Like we have services called VPC, CloudFront, DNS. So this is actually a service which talks about domain name system. So here they have given a fancy name for that, right? And then like if you want to talk about like management, right? So they really offer a very transparent management here. So you can you can set up your budgets, and based on the budgets that you have set up, right? You can start using the services inside Amazon. If the budget exceeds, immediately there will be a notification, and so you can see how to manage the budgets effectively. So they also provide many automated services to manage the budget effectively of your organization, so that you are not ending up in paying more money, or you are not wasting your organization's cost on running unnecessary services, right? And there are services which can help you to use the existing software licenses that you have purchased, right? For example, you are using a third party application, right? To achieve a solution, right? To achieve a case. And so you have purchased a license for the third party application. Now, in between, you are trying to move the application to the Amazon cloud, right? So Amazon cloud does not ask you to go and purchase a new license, right? You can use the existing license on the Amazon cloud, right? So Amazon takes care of the licenses that you have, that you already have, right? It is not, there is no hard and fast rule that you want to purchase a new license for the software which already you use it on the on-premise network when you migrate it to the cloud infrastructure, right? So those services are really good in Amazon. And so you have services for machine learning, and so these are the developer tools which I was talking about, right? So I said you right. So Amazon provides you the complete platform to change or to customize, the APIs or SDKs which is present, right? So these are some of the developer tools that Amazon provides. So I do not have much idea on these developer tools because I'm not a developer person actually. I'm more into the implementation side. So I have some idea about like Code Star, and I have some idea about Code Deploy, which I will help you out to understand some of the developer tools. But as far of solution architect certification is considered, these developer tools are not covered in the syllabus, right? So the tools that are covered in our syllabus is in compute. We talk about EC2, we talk about Lambda, we talk about Beanstalk. In storage, we talk about S3, we talk about S3 Glacier, right? In database, we talk about RDS and we talk about DynamoDB. And we introduce what Redshift is,
Data
right?
warehouse.
In migration, yeah, warehousing, correct.
I have a
In
question.
migration, we talk about Snowball. Yeah, Mohammed, yeah.
As we know that the cloud provider, they do infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So how do we differ which service goes to, in fact, IaaS, or which service goes to PaaS, or which service goes to SaaS?
Yeah, so that really comes with experience, Mohammed. Like once you start, because what happens is there are some. It is just because of the terminologies which we get confused. Really, mostly like all the services are helping us to achieve a solution, right? And then like most of the services are similar only, but the terminologies used over here, and so there will be some advantages or there will be some changes to each and every service. Once you get on to the cloud provider, when you start using their console, then you will try to slowly understand which service falls into which category of or which service model of cloud. So there is no there is nothing like you are using VPC, and you are saying that this is only an infrastructure as a service. This is not a platform as a service. There is no service like that which is inclined towards a particular service model of cloud, right? It is about how you deploy a service onto your existing network. It is more about that, right? So
Yeah.
this one, it comes with experience. Like once you uh, start using the console, you will slowly learn it,
All right.
right? But one thing which I have faced in my career is After you learn about like different cloud providers, you slightly get confused.
Yeah, that's what.
That happens actually. That I'm facing right now actually. Like so I was talking about which services we will be covering, right? In database, we will be doing RDS, DynamoDB, and Redshift. In migration, we will be talking about a service called Snowball, right? In networking, we'll be talking about VPC, CloudFront, and Route 53. Right, and then uh, in management, we'll be talking about cloud formation, auto scaling, and CloudWatch. Right. So these are the list of services which are covered in Amazon Solution Architect Associate level certification. So in professional level certification, what they do is they will add some more topics to the existing syllabus. Right. So the approach is slightly different on the professional level exams. So the next thing is like so which is what are the advantages of having AWS? Like I think we were discussing about all these points, right? So pricing is flexible over here. Their global presence is also the server capacity is also huge, and customization. So if you want to customize or if you want to automate, they have a platform for that as well. And security, so they take security into 99.49 percentage, right? And so the API, the programming interface is also cool in the case of AWS. So these are the reasons why AWS stands front than the other cloud providers. So this is one point which I want to take some time for you to make you to understand. So what are all the prerequisites of AWS, of learning AWS, right? So the first prerequisite is, so you should have a basic understanding on what exactly visualization is, right? So if you don't have, don't worry. The first session which we are going to take up is about visualization only, right? And the second prerequisite is, so you should have knowledge about using Windows OS and using Linux OS. So you do not want to be a master of Windows, or you do not want to be a master of Linux. So if you know the basic stuffs, like so what is a Microsoft console, right? So what is the difference between Microsoft console and Microsoft management console, right? And if you know how to like configure IP addresses on Windows or Linux machine, or if you know about the file formats, right? So what is a file, what is a folder, or what is a directory, right? So just the basics of these two operating systems is required to start AWS, right? And as far as networking is considered, if you have an idea about like what IP addresses is, what is the difference between a public IP and a private IP, and how data transfer happens between one PC to other PC, right? What is mean by routing? What is mean by switching? So these basic stuffs is required in networking. And coding skills for solution architect certifications, for certification, coding skill is not at all required, right? But for you to learn about the other, uh, if you want to become a developer, so Amazon certified developer, or if you want to become a big data specialist, or if you want to become a data warehousing specialist, or if you want to learn machine learning on Amazon. So for those things, coding skill is required, right? So especially C Sharp and Java. So these are the two coding skills which you want to have to start with Amazon developer certifications. But for solution architect, it is not really mandatory, right? And at last, databases. So when I'm talking about database, again, you don't want to be a master. So you just want to know what a database is, or you just want to know what is a query. So how an application process a query to the database, and how databases responds for the query. So if you know in this particular level, it is more than enough, right? Uh,
I
so
have a
here I have
question.
just given you the, yeah, please.
I'm a basically Windows guy, so I don't know anything about Linux. I never worked with Linux, so it works.
Okay. So like no, when you say like yeah, like you said you are MCSA, right?
Yeah,
So like in Linux, in what depth we will be going into is, I think you know about IAS configuration in Windows, right?
yeah.
The same thing we will be doing it on the Linux,
All right.
right? So in Linux, that too, we are not going to use Ubuntu or CentOS.
Yeah.
Uh, so Amazon has their own Linux called Amazon Linux,
Okay.
right? So we'll be like not configuring the. We are not going to learn about scripting of Linux, right?
Yeah.
So basic stuffs like creating a folder, creating a directory, configuring IAS, configuring a DHCP, configuring a DNS,
Okay.
right? Only those things are covered. So it
All
is just having just matter of remembering some 5 to 10 lines of commands,
right. Okay. That's okay.
right?
I have a
So
concept of CMD PowerShell.
mm, mm.
So,
If you know PowerShell, then it is Linux is really easy. So because most of the commands are similar only,
okay.
right? So in PowerShell, actually, the commands are little bit extensive,
Yeah.
right? So the lines are very big. In Linux,
Yeah.
it is represented in short form. So you just
Oh,
want to know what you are supposed to do. So it is like learning about the iOS. So if you take routers iOS, or if you take firewalls iOS, so in iOS, what they do is actually the commands are a little bit extensive, and then there are various ways of configuring a single task.
yeah.
So you just want to understand what you're supposed to do. Once you understand that, then there will only be 2 3 commands for every tasks.
Okay.
So up to what level we will be using Linux is, so we will be configuring IIS, we will be configuring DNS, we will be configuring DHCP. That's it.
Okay.
Only to this level we will be using Linux skills.
Yep.
So what about others? Any questions? Okay. So coming back to who should learn AWS, like so these are all the different certification levels which AWS has. The first one is cloud practitioner. So in cloud practitioner, it is like the first level of AWS. It is like CompTIA certifications, right? So they introduce about each and every service. It is just a definition. So like they talk about what exactly EC2 is. They talk about what exactly Snowball is. They talk about what exactly S3 is. They talk about different domains, and they explain you. They give a definition on each and every service that they have. So cloud practitioner is more about, it is for a salesperson. So salesperson do not need to know about the technical stuffs, right? So he's not the one who is going to implement a network, or he's not going to implement a solution. He's not going to provide a solution. So he just want to know the terminologies. So that is for sales perspective. Cloud practitioner is a certification, and architect is more about learning the services, configuring the services, and designing it. The perspective that we take in is designing the service and implementing the service. So that is what architect is about. And developer, it is for developing the applications on the Amazon's platform, on AWS platform, right? And operations, so operation is more about automating the applications, customizing the applications, or automating the networks. So that is what operations is about. So if your background is from infrastructure management perspective, so if you are an IMS person, like for example, you are into networking, or you are into database, or you are into middleware, right? The certifications that you want to concentrate is on, first you concentrate on architecting, and the second one is operations. So you can become an solution architect associate, then become an solution architect professional, then concentrate on sysops. So sysops is nothing but system operations, right? So if you are more into development side, that is you have scripting skills than the IMS part of the IT industry, then you're supposed to go on to the developer certifications, right? But to move into any certifications, solution architect is mandatory. So they have kept like first try to understand the services of Amazon, then you can choose which you want. Either become a developer, or become a um, operations specialist, or go to the specialty certifications. So there are two specialty certifications which Amazon talks about. One is advanced networking, the other one is Amazon cybersecurity, Amazon security, right? So both the things again is again networking only. So one is about securing your infrastructure, one is about configuring the networking part of like the cloud. So this is about like where we can fit in. So after completing the solution architect certification, where exactly we can fit in, or what we are supposed to do in our company. So what kind of job role we will be having, right? As I said, architecting is more about designing and implementation, right? So we will be responsible for designing our network inside the AWS cloud. So that is one responsibility that we will be having. And the next responsibility will be migrating the applications from on-premises network to cloud infrastructure. So either you will be creating a private cloud for your organization, or you will be deploying a hybrid cloud model, right? Some servers will be located on-premise network, and some servers will be located on the cloud network. So those kind of migrations we will be doing it. And the next one is like once you get a idea about solution architect, so we are the one who will be responsible for choosing the services. So like one person comes to me and says that I want to have a storage service where I want to store huge amount of data, but I will not be accessing the data in regular basis, right? So it is like I want to store some 10 TB of data to the cloud, and this 10 TB should be stored in the cloud, but I am not going to use that 10 TB on my regular, or in a regular way, right? So daily I will not be using it. So I just want a infrequent access to the data that I have stored. So if there is a question comes from a person, then we will be responsible to choose an appropriate service which helps to achieve this particular case, right? So we have a service called Amazon Glacier, right, which has a large amount of storage space, and it is for infrequent access, right? And coming to the last, so we will be also our job responsibility is also to estimate the cost uh, for the service which we choose it, right? So pricing model, under having an idea about pricing model is also required uh, in the solution architect certification level. So job trends, like so these are the different roles a solution architect can fit into, right? So either one can become a technical role who configures or who implements the network or who implements the databases or who develops the application. So it can be either a technical role or a management role as well. So like mostly instead of having a technical role, I just want to become an administrator. I want to become an implementation engineer. I just want to become an administrator. So management and administration roles, and at last, business based roles as well, like perspective is on the sales side, right, providing solutions to the company, to the customers. So these are all the different job trends that we have, right? And so this changes actually, like salaries. When you talk about salaries, this is really just a I have taken this from Amazon website itself, AWS website. So this is the average salary that a certified person gets in US market and market of Canada, right? So associate level and then the professional level. So this really does not matter big. It differs for every organization. It is about the company which we work on. So as I said, like the duration of this course will be 45 hours. Like so, it is not, there is no hard and fast rule. Like we do not want to force and restrict the class to 45 hours. So if you have any questions, then we can extend our sessions based on that. So what we do from our side is we'll be sharing you the study material. I can share you the PDF copy of Amazon's book as well. And I have also created study materials for my classes. Like I have created PPT presentations, I've created lab guides, right? So for you to practice, like for the first time, you will not know what to click and where to click. So my lab guide will help you to understand about the procedure of implementing a task. So we'll be providing you the study docs, and so you will be getting an LMS account where you can access your study docs, right? And right, so you can also like will help you to create an account. Anyway, that is required. The first class itself, like I'll help you how to create a free tier account. Then we'll also help you to understand the exam questions. Like whenever I talk about a concept, I'll also give you an idea about how exam questions will be asked from that particular topic, right? So in that way, you'll also be ready to understand about how exam questions are created, right? All right. So yeah. So like any questions, like other people like Mohammed, or any other questions?
So if we follow the regular basis, the class note, So is this enough to pass the exam?
Yes, yes, yes. So 80% of like content has been like prepared. It is already ready. So for you to get the more idea, for you to get the confidence, I recommend you to just go through the Solution Architect Cyber Express book once after completing the session, right?
Okay.
So you'll be on the current level, current state, right? But the content which I have prepared is uh, like the guarantee is like 90%. Like you can get the complete idea.
Okay. That's what I want. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like till now, like I have around delivered classes for around 80 to 85 people, and like around 60 to 70% of persons has cleared the exams as well.
Wow. It's good to hear.
Some people, last batch, I remember 10 people joined, and then 9 of them took the exam, and 9 have cleared. One person did not take the exam. It depends on people, right? Right. So there is a question from Kanupriya. What is a prerequisite knowledge to become AWS architect? Yeah, Kanupriya, I was talking about these are all the prerequisites, right? So you want to know the basics of virtualization, OS, networking, and database. Coding is again not required. For architect certification, coding is not required. So if you want to become a developer, coding is required over there. But these 4 skills, I'm not telling that these 4 skills are mandatory. You wanted to be a master of virtualization, you want to know about Hyper-V, you want to know about Citrix, or you want to know about VMware, that is not required. You just want to know what virtualization is, right? So in that way only we have prepared our course also. Uh, it always it happens, right? Because people there will be from different backgrounds, right? So when we talk about virtualization, like I'll explain you what exactly virtualization is, and then move into the cloud, right? When it comes to OS, I'll explain you what exactly OS, how exactly OS operates, how exactly you can use those skills. I'll explain you, then I'll go to the Amazon topics. And networking also, I'll give you the basics first, and then we will talk about the different services of AWS, right? So that in that way you will not lose, the interest, or you will not lose in between, right? That can be taken care, right? So any 2 skills on this 5 is more than enough. So hope this answers your questions, Kanapriya. So Kanupriya says she is a business analyst with no technical knowledge. You do not want to worry much. So really now what happens is business analysts are more interested towards AWS because of their job needs, right? So here, as I said, like this certification is about like architecting, designing. So we are not going to implement anything directly. It is not highly technical, right? And one more thing is there's a question from Chantel. When does the class begins? It'll be 1.5 hour session daily. So the classes will begin 7 a.m. IST, and it goes for 1.5 hours. So 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. IST uh, is the class timings, right? So I think it's better. I can tell it in my time zone so that you can convert it in your time zone, because you will be from different locations, right?
Classes, excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. Classes will start from tomorrow. So request you who are all interested, please kindly email me so that I can contact you. And we will have the first session tomorrow. Interested participants can join. Thank you.
Yeah, Fatima has a question. So she is into development and she wants to get into AWS development. So do I want to get certified in SysOps and then do? Mm. Yeah. So Fatima, yeah, I got your question. So if you want to become a developer, so developer certification is the second level of certification in AWS. So first level of certification is solution architect. So it is mandatory to appear for solution architect exam before you take up the development certification exam, right? So first target for solution architect, then you can directly target for Amazon developer certifications. As you are a programmer, as you are more into the development side, you do not want to do SysOps. So SysOps is for administrators. That is, you can be a database administrator. Then I'll advise you to go to SysOps. So if you are a network administrator, then it is good to go to SysOps. Or if you are a middleware administrator, it is better to go to SysOps, right? But being a developer, SysOps is not required. You can take up the solution architect certification and then directly you can appear for the developer certification of AWS. So these two will be required for you. So any more questions? Okay, so as Sridevi mentioned, the first class will be starting from tomorrow, 7 a.m. IST, right? So you can discuss about the logistics with Sridevi, and so we will be starting the tomorrow session.
All are requested to check with your mics so that the session will be interactive. You can talk to the trainer. Requested to check with your mics and join the session tomorrow.
Yeah, that is also one good thing which Sridevi mentioned actually. Thank you, Sridevi, because like that is more important, because that is a problem which we face in online sessions. Like if the session is not interactive, then it will be really boring, right?
Yeah, it is.
Only Sharif is talking, giving so much information.
Hmm. And like I'll not know whether I'm talking rightly or not if nobody responds back. In classroom session, we don't face these problems, but in online sessions,
Yeah. It's good. It's a clear voice. I can hear everything properly, and there is no network interruption. So it's good to
yeah,
go.
yeah, mostly networking issues is not like now India has become digital India, right? So, there's no such problems we are facing now after Geo has come.
Yeah.
So you studied in Chennai, Mohammed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you know Tamil then, right? You have learned
I
Tamil.
I understand Tamil, but
Oh, hmm.
கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் தெரியும் பேச
Oh,
தெரியாது.
okay, okay, that's great.
Then I've been in London couple of years. 5 years I've been in London. Then I did my masters over there. Then and now finally I'm in USA last couple of years. So I'm working at Morgan Stanley at the moment. Morgan Stanley is one of the
Oh, Morgan Stanley. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
but
is one of our clients.
yeah, but Morgan Stanley doesn't use any of the cloud solution. Like
Mm-hmm.
they have their own architecture. So probably I might switch to if I get a better chance in other. I have a couple of interviews, so let's see. Because I'm working as a contractor, so it's not
Mm-hmm.
a full-time position. So I'm looking for a full-time position at the moment. So let's see. But it's a
No,
huge.
now,
There
now
is
you do
lots
not
of
want to
things.
worry. Like once you learn AWS, the market is really huge.
Yeah,
Even like we were thinking about, what happens when the word automation was introduced
yeah,
inside networking. Like we people were confused
yeah,
because like network administrators do not have much idea about programming. Like I do not want to go on programming. That's why I choose this.
yeah,
And suddenly, after completing 10 years, like I was like confused what will be the next step. But finally, when we landed to cloud computing, again the view got changed.
yeah. It is. So anyway, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Mohammed.
Yeah,
Thank you a lot.
thank you.
So
See you
we'll meet
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
So,
bye. Yeah, we'll be forwarding the slides to you, Kanupriya and Fatima. So Fatima says like she is also knows Tamil. Like that is really great to hear.
will the sessions be in Tamil, sir, from tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll see.
Sir, shall I close the class? Anything else,
Yeah, yeah.
Muhammad Sharif?
Okay, because it's almost 10:30 here, so I need to go to bed because tomorrow morning I have office.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even
So,
for me, I'm also getting late for office actually.
all right, then. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.